Coming up on ATV News, students participate in a Black History Month Day of Service, and American University alum Jaleesa Hall accepts an award.
Also, COVID delays affect campus activities. We'll hear how students feel about the new COVID mandates. Good afternoon and welcome to ATV News. I'm Adriana Doria.
And I'm Jane Caroline Fusco. Thank you for joining us. Breaking this week, Russia took control of the Chernobyl power plant with some casualties reported. Protests at the Russian embassy in D.C. occurred this week, and hundreds of anti-war protesters were arrested in Russia.
Also, President Biden announces Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson as his Supreme Court nominee. Jackson would replace Justice Stephen Breyer after his retirement. Upon confirmation, Judge Jackson would be the first Black woman Supreme Court justice to sit on the bench. Following the announcement, Republican senators spoke out against Judge Jackson and the timing of the nomination. AU recognized Black History Month this year with events focused on giving back to the D.C. community. More than 45% of Washington, D.C. population is Black, with less than 9% as members of the AU community. Jane Caroline Fusco reports.
American University, Black History Month means celebrating community activism and hands-on service to others. About 60 students participated in the Black History Month Day of Service, held on February 16th and sponsored by the university's Center for Community Engagement and Service. Following a breakfast meeting, student volunteers engaged in outreach to DC's homeless population, senior citizens living alone, and other at-risk groups.
I really wanted to find a way to give back to the community, and this program is just really easy to do that. It's very accessible.
At the Black History Month commemoration service held in K Chapel on February 25th, alum Jaleesa Hall was honored with AU's Martin Luther King Jr. Visionary Award. Hall, who received her master's degree in 2014, is the founder of Raising a Village, a nonprofit that increases access to education, wellness, and the arts in underserved areas of DC.
The AU was so critical in me learning the ins and outs of the nonprofit space to really be able to turn theory into practice.
Hall encourages current AU students to focus on making a difference through activism, not just in February, but throughout the year.
Everybody is a potential solution to a problem in this world. And the reason why I say potential is because it is up to you to bring that potential into fruition.
New COVID guidelines in place for the spring semester have seen varying degrees of success. Adriana Doria has the details.
American University has imposed stricter COVID-19 procedures for the spring semester compared to previous semesters on campus. Most recently, the university imposed surveillance testing, where students will be randomly selected to take a PCR test on campus. In addition, they are now requiring N95 or KN95 masks on campus, which they are handing out one a week to students on campus for free. The first time masks were provided, they were proven in a recent Eagle article to have been counterfeit. This leaves students questioning the validity of the policy. Sophomore Kai Suherwan emphasized his disappointment with the administration.
Because if they're going to impose this policy on students, then they should at least hold their end of the bargain.
Now, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser recently ended the indoor mask and vaccination requirement with exception to schools. Administration confirmed their current masking and testing policy will stay in place regardless of the new D.C. COVID guidelines. But students are hopeful the pandemic will eventually end, and junior Molly Kleinstein agrees.
I mean, I obviously hope that it's over soon. I feel like it's more about living to learn with COVID rather than figuring out how to live without it, because I think it's just going to probably be with us for a while.
AU students who rely on the metro to commute are frustrated with ongoing delays.
I've gotten used to it. I've gotten frustrated through the whole experience, but I mean, it is unfortunate. I'm not surprised.
Efforts are underway to restore the old 6000 series to improve reliability.
And coming up, campus improvements outlined in the 2021 development plan are moving forward. Ben Mermel investigates what this means for the Mary Graydon Center, one of the oldest buildings on AU's campus.
Also, Fabiana Rincon reports on diversity in local newsrooms. She'll look into where newsroom diversity stands today. The story and more after the break.
I want you to get the vaccine because I want you to be safe.
I don't want you to be a patient I take care of in the hospital. That's what I'm scared of. Can I hug you?
Yeah. Love you. Love you too.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to ATV News. With sights set on updating the Mary Graydon Center, AU's administration is polling students for their opinion. Ben Mermel finds out how the campus may change in the years to come.
American University's campus is a historic mainstay of the Tenleytown Spring Valley neighborhood. But could the campus be improved? The American University administration believes so, and last year outlined their 2021 10-year plan for building development and filed zoning documents with the City of D.C. Included within the campus plan is a very close target of improving on the Mary Graydon Center over the next decade, piece by piece. To that end, the university sent out a survey to a selection of randomly sampled students concerning the remodeling. The questions included asking things like how often students visited MGC and for what purpose. At the end of the survey, respondents were supposedly gifted a free coupon for the Bridge Cafe, but some have not yet received it. According to President Burwell's forward in the 2021 10-year plan, quote, American University is an institution on the move. We spoke with a student who ended up taking that survey to see their thoughts on the matter.
I think MGC definitely could use an update. My mom went here and she said it looks the same as when she went here in the 90s, so that's probably like an issue. And yeah, I just think that like more small study spaces are probably better.
We're excited to see what the redevelopment plan has in store for MGC, and what, if any, impact the survey will have on the project. I'm Ben Mermel, now back to the studio.
Identity-based student groups on AU's campus allow other students to learn about the communities they represent. This spring, some of these groups are extending their outreach to a series of settler colonialism classes. Alexandra Valerio reports.
With the return to campus, American University clubs and organizations now have a chance to host events in person. The American University League of United Latin American Citizens, Students Advocates for Native American Communities, Caribbean Circle, Hawaii Club, American University Students for Justice in Palestine, Asian American Student Union are hosting a Spring 2022 Settler Colonialism event series.
When I was in LASO, the idea behind LASO was to create an open space for anyone that felt somehow related to their Latinx identity to have like a shared community space on campus.
This event will include guest speakers and will be open to the public.
I think that any public forum where we discuss settler colonialism, it's going to be valuable.
The event series hopes to educate American University students about colonialism and how much of an impact it has made throughout many communities. I'm Alexandra Valerio with ATV News, sending you back to the studio.
Now an update on AU winter sports. The swimming and diving teams concluded their seasons with a streak of wins, and the track teams end their indoor season with multiple personal records. The men's wrestling team finished its season with only one home win, and the women's basketball team won almost every home game this season, while the men's team heads to the Patriot League tournament.
Last week was amazing. We got 2 really big wins against Bucknell and Boston. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. We're trying to win out to put ourselves in the best possible seed for postseason.
The game times and location, visit the AU Athletic Department's website and social media pages.
Earlier this month, the former Washington football team announced its long-awaited new name, the Commanders. This name has mixed opinions among fans, including some AU students.
I didn't even know they were named the Commanders. I personally don't care.
I don't have strong feelings. I went to 2 football team games this year, and there were times where it was just like saying "Go Team" sounded stupid.
I don't like the name. I think it's something about Commanders just feels weird, like going from their old name.
I think it's better than something racist.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's certainly better than the last one, but anything would be.
It's a start to change, but there's still more to go.
I think it's a stupid name, personally. I feel like they could have done better. It sounds like a high school football team's name to me, but...
Now that we have heard from AU students, what do you think? I'm Gabby Arnold with ATV News, and now back to the studio.
And now from FedEx Field to Beijing, some AU students tell us what they thought of this year's Winter Olympic Games.
Who's your favorite Olympian?
My favorite Olympian is Nathan Chen. He's a figure skater from America.
Sean White. What is your favorite Olympic sport to watch?
My favorite Olympic sport to watch is figure skating.
What was your favorite part of the Olympics?
I actually really like seeing the Lululemon sponsorship and all the clothes that the Canadian athletes are wearing, and I like them a lot better than the Tommy Hilfiger.
Watching Nico Porteris snowboard.
Which country do you think won the most gold medals?
America, duh. Canada.
Did you watch the Olympics this year?
I didn't watch the Olympics, but I got all the news through TikTok. Not on live TV, but I saw clips on TikTok.
Personally, I did not watch the Olympics, and I don't even know who won the Olympics, if it's still happening or anything, but I really thought it was interesting, the whole situation with the Russian ice figure skater who was caught doping. Aside from that, and Sean White. We love Sean White. That's all I have to say.
Did you watch the opening ceremony for the Winter Olympics?
I did. I really liked Team Great Britain's outfits.
Some students have a new way to stay updated on current events. The university now offers all students a free subscription to the New York Times.
I've been paying for a subscription, but I was really happy to hear that AU is now providing free subscriptions for students, so I'm able to cancel mine and get it for free now, which is really exciting.
To register for an account, students must visit nytimeseducation.com and sign up with their student email.
A series of resignations by women of color from news organizations has sparked conversations about diversity and inclusion. Fabiana Rincon reports how this has impacted local newsrooms.
3 women of color quit their jobs hosting radio shows at NPR over concerns of racial discourse in their offices. In the wake of these resignations, members of the AU and DC journalistic communities are reconsidering how they facilitate diversity in the newsroom.
After I went to Colombia and I showed this kind of topics, like a report, they have been seeing how successful is this kind of topic.
The School of Communications at American University heavily prioritizes diversity, both in faculty and in student life. Their new Race Matters initiative is set to prioritize, quote, confronting racism through scholarship, teaching, and public engagement in the field of communication, end quote.
The world that students are going to be going into when they leave campus, and hopefully we can replicate that on campus. That is, that we can have diversity in the classroom, we can have diversity in the curriculum, we can have diversity in what students learn and how they learn, so that when they go into the real world, into the workplace, it is an extension of what they already know.
Of course, there is still work to be done in improving diversity in the newsroom. The resignations over the past year show us that many workplaces in the field of communications are still highly uncomfortable for journalists of color. But it is also important to realize how critical the newsroom can be for representation of diversity in these fields. I'm Fabiana Rincon with ATV News, sending you back to the studio.
Coming up next, we'll look at how AU's alternative spring break program is adapting to COVID travel restrictions.
Also, Ben Mermel talks with graduating seniors as they prepare for the future. This story and more after the break.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now I'm anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet,
we discover
they're a little bit of a lot of things,
but they're all pure love.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Well, now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
ATV News is back. AU has started 2022 with new art and entertainment across campus. Liv Wood caught up with a student involved in AU's Field and Formations Museum exhibit.
The Fields and Formations exhibit opened on January 29th. The exhibition is dedicated to, quote, luminous color, repeated forms, the power of materials, and the meditative aspects of making labor-intensive works, end quote. Approximately 70 works are on display on the third floor of the American University Museum and the Katz and Arts Center.
It's a wonderful show up on the third floor, featuring artists, primarily women and non-binary artists, that we're putting in partnership with the Delaware Art Contemporary. It's a wonderful sort of multimedia show. We even have a component that uses VR to take you into the landscape of the artist.
Most have taken influences from two female artists, Alma Thomas and Anne Truitt, who are based in Washington and have been under-recognized in the field of abstract painters.
If you're a student living on campus, it is so easy to come by, and many people don't even know that we exist.
Anyone interested can also read the catalog online to learn more about the pieces on display. The artwork will be available until May 22nd, 2022. The American University Museum is open Friday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'm Olivia Wood with ATV News, sending you back to the studio.
AU's Department of Performing Arts put on a production of the play Sins of Swarhana in the Greenberg Theater. The play follows a poet whose fight against the church and for feminism. The show ran from February 10th to 12th and was the department's first live performance of the year.
Wondering and making the most of every rehearsal. You know, what we don't know what's going to happen, but this could be the last one.
For more information on performing arts events this semester, go to the Department of Performing Arts website.
AU has long offered alternative break options for students interested in service opportunities. Grace Harman has the updates on how COVID is impacting the program this spring.
American University students participating in alternative break programs this spring will no longer be going abroad because of COVID-19 travel concerns. Student leaders and alternative break administrators have adapted their international service trips to Cape Town, South Africa, and El Progreso, Honduras, and will deliver domestic engagement opportunities instead. Alternative breaks provide students with immersive learning experiences during the winter, spring, and summer academic breaks. Many of these experiences normally take place abroad. Uncertainty from the spread of the Omicron variant led student program leaders to cancel the international components of their programs. This is not the first time Alternative Breaks has faced complications because of COVID-19. Alternative Breaks director, Stephen Angelsmith, says that while 2 years of modified programming have been challenging, important lessons about accessibility are being learned along the way.
I think we're all still functioning in this situation, in this weird hybrid world of, will we be able to do X? We don't know, but we're not going to be begrudging what you can't control.
The program hopes to use what it has learned to design more equitable opportunities for future participants. I'm Grace Harmon with ATV News, sending you back to the studio.
In recent years, college graduates have faced additional challenges due to the pandemic. As a new class of graduates prepares to walk the stage this spring, Ben Mermel reports on the resources available to them.
This May, the class of 2022 will be graduating from Bender Arena, capping off an unusual yet memorable 4-year undergraduate experience for many. In just a few short months, these students will leave the familiar environment of American University, a transition which impacts areas from their social lives to their career prospects. For graduating students, particularly those remaining in the District of Columbia, finding new housing accommodations will prove to be a new and challenging milestone. In order to help facilitate a smooth transition to post-grad life, American University students have assistance in the form of career aid from the Career Center, help with finding accommodations from the Housing and Residence Life Department, and social help in the form of alumni groups and networks. We spoke to a few graduating seniors to get their take on what life might look like after American University.
For me, that's a hard question to answer because I'm still trying to reconcile the 2 years of the college experience that I lost to the pandemic. I think life after college will probably look like staying in one of the current jobs that I'm in right now, and doing that until I can sort of get my feet on the ground.
All in all, despite the challenges and the hardships posed by COVID, it seems as though the class of 2022 will be well off and on their way to graduate life after American University. I'm Ben Bermel. Now back to the studio.
Washington, D.C. provides unique opportunities for AU students to explore other cultures. One locally owned restaurant, Chocolate, prides itself on its Korean-American heritage. Ilana Sherman reports.
Chocolate is located on 1130 Connecticut Avenue, right in between DuPont Circle and Foggy Bottom. The oldest independent chocolate shop in Washington, D.C., known for its array of chocolates as well as beautiful decor. Ginger Park and her sister Frances have owned and operated Chocolate since 1984. Besides being a small business owner, Park is also an author. She writes and publishes children's books that explore the history of Korea.
And I was really excited because I know that it's a female-owned business, which I always want to support in DC. And I had to get some gifts for my parents because I'm going home for spring break and I wanted something to kind of resemble DC and everything about it. So when I went, they were super receptive. The women that were working there were so nice. It was really just like warm and homey. They made me feel like I was like meant to be there.
The Park sisters have written several award-winning books together and separately, with an array of options including memoirs, short stories, illustrated children's books, and recipe books. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, the Park sisters had to close up shop temporarily right before one of their biggest times of the year, Easter. Initially, they considered selling the shop, but customers convinced the Park sisters not to. I'm Ilana Sherman with ATV News, sending you back to the studio.
That's all for ATV News. I'm Jane Caroline Fusco.
And I'm Adriana Doria. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.